In our last video, we learned about translations. So a translation is the sliding of a figure along a given line for a given distance. So here we have an example of this triangle that's moving from here to here. So each point moves along these straight lines, these construction lines. These are called construction lines. They help guide us with the movement, the slide of the figure. And this is the translation arrow. All the construction lines are parallel to the construction arrow, to the translation arrow. And the length of the arrow determines how far I move the shape, how far I slide the shape. And it always moves along a straight line. If I change the direction of the arrow, then the triangle moves. But the construction lines are always parallel to the translation arrow. Now let's move on to from a translation to a rotation. Now in a rotation, the points will not move around in a straight line. They will move around in a circle. So in order to rotate a figure, we need some instructions. So we need to know which direction. So am I going to rotate it clockwise? So clockwise or counterclockwise? Am I gonna what is the angle of rotation? So how much do I go? Do I go halfway? Do I go a quarter of the way? How much do I go? And the center of rotation is important also. So what we do is we have this point over here. Let's call that O. That'll be the center of rotation. So I'll call that O. Make it a capital O. And that will be the center of rotation. So I'm going to tell the computer, click on this point, mark center. That's going to be the center of rotation. And now each one of these vertices is going to move along a circle like this. It's going to move along a circle like that. So if I want to do a rotation, then let's label each. So let's label each vertice, and now let's watch how as it rotates around. So watch how as it rotates around. I'll move this with it. So you see how, keep your eye on point A, for example. Now point A is moving along in a circle like this. Right now I'm going counterclockwise. If I go the other way, it'll be, actually this is clockwise, right? This is clockwise, and this way is counterclockwise. And each point moves around the circle. It moves around the circle. So the direction, this way or that way, this way or that way. The angle, do I go clockwise a little bit, halfway around, 3/4, the whole way around? And then the center of rotation, that's important too. If I change the center of rotation, if I put it further away, let's see what happens if I put the center of rotation further away. What happens when I rotate? What happens when I rotate? Well, it'll go around a bigger circle. It'll go around a bigger circle. I can even take the center of rotation and I can put it as one of the points. What if I put it over here, like that? And then watch what happens when I rotate. It's going to rotate, everything will rotate around that center of rotation, that center O. And this is still O. Watch what happens. It'll just go around like that. And I could also put the center of rotation inside the figure. What if I take the center of rotation and I put it inside the figure like this? What do you think is going to happen? What do you think will happen if I rotate it like that? So it'll just spin around. It's like you're putting a point here. You put your finger there and it spins around like that. Spins around like that. So let's go back to this example and let's rotate each thing. Let's rotate it 90 degrees. So 90 degrees would be about here. This is, let's make this the 0 degrees up here. Let's say that's 0 degrees. Then 90 degrees would be like that. 90 degrees would be like this. This would be 90 degrees. 180 degrees would be 180 degrees would be like that. And 270 would be like this. So each 90 plus 90 plus 90 plus 90. This could also be 360. So if I rotate this figure 90 degrees clockwise around this center of rotation, O, it will look like this. Watch point A. It moved. Let's highlight that one too. It moved 90 degrees. And if I want to rotate it 180 degrees, well, 90 clockwise, 180. What's you should notice about 180, if I go counterclockwise 180, I end up at the same spot. If I go counterclockwise, I'm like this. If I go clockwise, I'm like that. And if I want to rotate clockwise 180, 270, I end up here. You should notice that if you go 90 degrees, or let's say 270 degrees clockwise, well, that's the same as going 90 degrees counterclockwise. So let's just draw a picture of each one in each of its rotations. So I've drawn all the rotations in 90-degree rotations, so 90 degree, 180 degrees, 270 degrees, and back to 0 degrees or 360 degrees. So it's fun just to see how the shapes move around the circle. You notice that these two guys are 180 degrees apart. These two guys are 180 degrees apart. These two guys are 90 degrees apart. So I can rotate it like this. So I can even rotate 45 degrees. It would look something like that. Or I can rotate 10 degrees. Or I can rotate a whole bunch. This is an example of rotations.